So, if you've ever wondered where the bloody hell is a battery in a TVR Tuscan, that's where it is. Well, first of all, you have to take off the wheel. Then there are two bolts, you'll see later on, that hold the wheel arch. In our case, there was also a plastic clip-on that held on the rest. And then there is the battery, which you have this magnificent selection of positive cables. Apparently there is a inbuilt booster somewhere there, so some of these cables are for the booster. Here you can see the great thoughtfulness of heat shielding the positive lead, and here is a negative lead. So right now I'm just gonna go and install the new battery in, and hopefully after that the car will start. Okay, so now we have the battery inside. It's a bit tricky to put it in, so as you can see there's not much space between the brake caliper and the chassis, so you kind of need to take the battery, put it inside, turn it 90 degrees so it's vertical, and then rotate it back and slide it in. Well, that's also part of the reason why you can't really fit a bigger battery, because even if the space was larger you wouldn't be able to put it in unless you took off the brake caliper. I'm just going to use this spray which enhances the electrical contact between the poles of the battery and the wiring of the car. As you can see here, there is a space between the battery and the holder for the battery. Apparently there was some magical size battery from factory, which is impossible to purchase nowadays. So it's either this size battery or a battery that will just not fit. In theory you could unscrew this bolt there, I don't know if you can see it, there's a bolt there, and remove this bracket, but we thought it'll be easier to just do what the previous owner did, and that's to place this wooden block as a spacer. So that's what I'm going to do now. So we've successfully managed to connect the battery to the car. It's a bit of a hustle here, because as you can see there's not much space and you can't help yourself with the second arm because there is no way to put it, so you have to do everything with one hand. This is probably the best, the healthiest for the cable, although as you can see it's already broken, but fingers crossed it lives on. Similarly here you have a bit more hassle with all these cables. These are for the booster or for the charger. Some of you may know that the way to charge or trickle charge your TVR, there is this cap, and here are two ports, as my fingers are. So normally you would plug your charger to these ports over the winter to trickle charge the battery. This is not an ideal design, because even though there is a cap, obviously when there is a lot of grime and dust on the road, it can get in, so make sure you spray it regularly. See, there is a little hole here in which there was this cable tie. I am not sure if this is the original design. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Nonetheless, it is advisable to have an additional anchor point. Also worth mentioning, this silver looking cable is a main power cable for the entire vehicle, and the design is such that the edge of this plastic footwell is eating away from the cable. So I reinforced the cable with some good old tape, but in the future this is something that needs to be addressed. Obviously if you cut away a hole, this will work, but also this will create an entry for water and dirt towards the battery. So I know Sir Peter Wheeler is already dead, but I doubt he would have come up with this solution. And if anybody from Blackpool is listening to this, you must have been drunk when you done this, because this is the most idiotic place where you can put a battery. I mean, I understand the centralization of weight and mass, but still, this is a bit too much if you ask me. So. Porca Madonna, Dio cane, Madonna puttana. Fucking hell.